but it's not nothing. It's certainly not just happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
What up? Welcome to this Friday night. The date is how's everybody doing? I've had some crazy places, this is par for the course with me and my family, but I just had some crazy shit.
A lot of people are going to be masturbating.
Nobody's going to masturbate to this, James Gunn. Jesus Christ. Let me bring on this guy, and there he is. Wait, where is he? Wait, no, here he is. Boom. Hey.
Where am I?
There you are.
Me?
It's you.
So, I've been having audio issues.
Yeah.
So right now I can barely hear you, Dane, but it may not be you. So if somebody in chat,
let me see what chat's saying, because let's see. Oh, you left Mr. Gnome's camp show. Hey man, I can't promise that the titties are not going to be as big nor as googly-eyed as his. So, can everybody hear me okay in chat? Am I less audible than usual? I know I probably have some noise because I've got a fan going pretty high. We have not set up the AC in this area that I'm in yet. We're going to do that this weekend, so I'm just relying on this fan that's blowing its ass at me. But so Dane seems quiet compared to the video, but he seems fine. Let me turn me up. Turn me up right now. Hello, and I am louder now, I assume.
Yes, you are.
Good. You are audible as well, Bob. I can turn you up if you think I could do that for you.
That's up to chat.
I can hear you fine. And who cares what chat thinks, man? Whoever cared what chat thinks. Me a lot, actually. Especially the folks that are here now, because you're always kind of here on these Friday streams, and I love it. And I wish we could hang out and have a parasocial in-person friendship. Anyway, so my dad, who I am not necessarily estranged from anymore, but we don't have an ongoing relationship simply because we've just, I've talked about it plenty of times where he's a MAGA guy. And so he would start trolling me, and I would get pissed off, particularly at, how it is arguing with a MAGA person. They simply don't care about consistency, morality, logic, nothing. They'll just say whatever the fuck, right? And their main point is often just to piss you off. That sums up MAGA and all of its voters and its chief proponent and everything pretty well. So that's been, and I've cut him off for over a year at one point where we didn't talk. And that's weird, because there was a point when I was younger, when I was a stay-at-home dad, that me and my dad talked on the phone every fucking day for at least an hour, which is pretty crazy. So anyway, we've had a weird relationship over the years. Well, he's dying now.
Oh no.
Yeah, I hadn't heard from him in a while, and I realized that I hadn't talked to him since I said happy birthday to him in February. And I texted him and I said, hey, you all right? You alive down there? He's in Texas. And he didn't say anything back. And I was like, oh shit. And it was 2 days later. And then earlier today, I get a text from him that's a picture of his face all bloodied and fucked up. With no context, no text, no actual text. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I said, what is this? I texted him back, what's going on? And then I called him, no answer. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Why did you send me this picture? And he didn't say anything. And then finally, of course, he decides to call when it's 5 minutes until start time for the stream. And I was like, Dad, what's up? It was weird behavior, bad timing. And he was like, well, I'm in the hospital. I fell today. And I was like, okay, I'm glad you're in the hospital. I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you're getting taken care of. Why did you just send me a picture with no context? and he was like, well, I literally couldn't text, couldn't fucking do it. And I was like, okay, well, next time maybe just don't send the bloody picture if you can't. And he goes, well, my kidneys are failing. So if I don't start drinking a bunch of water all the time, I'm gonna die. And I was like, so you're gonna start drinking water? And he goes, well, I don't know, I'm trying to decide. I'm like, because he drinks a lot of Diet Dr. Pepper. I don't know how often, if ever, he drinks just water, like intentionally just water. So yeah, that happened right before stream, and I'm just like, you know, crazy. I mean, I know you've very recently dealt with the loss of a parent as well. So
yes, I am now the last of my kind. So at least where the immediate family is concerned. So my dad was the same way when he knew what was killing him, and he was told the very easy thing he needed to do to prolong his life and have better quality of life. He simply didn't do it because it was.
Yep. You're absolutely right, Jay Bird. That's what it is. Oh, sorry, not that one. It's this one. Yeah, it's emotional manipulation. I know that. Like I can spot it a mile away. That's one of the reasons I don't really engage with it. Like that's kind of part of the weirdness of starting the stream right after that is like I'm not upset. I'm not like, oh my God, my dad's dying. But there is that piece of information is now burrowing its way into my psyche, which at some point will probably, not tonight necessarily, but at some point I'm going to be like, holy shit, I'm not going to have any parents left.
Yeah.
Because my mom died when I was 15. And that's the thing is like I for so many times I would think, I know he and I don't get along. He's a piece of shit. He's emotional. He's never going to change. He's emotionally manipulative. He doesn't even know that he is. He's just this way. I've done a lot of work to not be that way and to fix a lot of the stuff that he did to me and shit. But I don't want to not be in contact with my only parent. As long as he's not actively harming me, and I won't let him. So like we just don't talk enough for that to happen. Then I'm like, I'll still keep in contact. But like, yeah, it's going to be weird. And then he's I said, well, you're really cool with Jesus and everything. You're always talking about how you're cool with your Lord. So why don't you just, if you want to hang out with him, go hang out with him, And he's like, that's what I'm thinking. And I was like, yeah, except that there's going to be people that miss you when you're gone. He said, well, there's some people that they say they love me. And I said, stop that shit. Don't do that crap. It's so fucking, I said, that's bitch behavior, Dad. You're fucking people. Oh, they say they love me. Come on. Don't be that way. Like there are people who surely find you annoying and frustrating and pig-headed and idiotic on a regular basis, but they love you and they'll miss you if you're gone. So yeah, it's the whole thing of him just being like casually deciding whether he wants to drink enough water to survive or not. Then I'm just like,
well, perhaps this is too personal of a question to answer on stream, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does he own property that you will be inheriting?
I don't believe that I am in position to have my name on anything whenever he goes. So I do have my stepmother still alive. She'll probably live till she's 340. She's been a teetotaler her whole life and everything, and just like
so she's married to him still?
They're married, but however, okay. She's got a home in Illinois, I think, or Indiana, forget one of those two. She was a registered nurse from her whole life basically, and then about 7-8 years ago she went back to school to become a nurse practitioner, and so she basically is almost a doctor kind of thing. And because she'd spent her whole life being a registered nurse, and if you know anything about that, you basically do a doctor's job plus stuff as a registered nurse, so you might as well get paid for it. That's what her logic was. And so she got a job in whatever state that starts with an I, and she has a house there, and they're still married, and she still comes back, and they're still married, and they still co-pay bills and all that stuff. It's just they haven't had any kind of like real connection with each other, I think, in probably close to 20 years. And so
you don't need to worry about the property thing then, because it's all going to go to her most likely.
I'm guessing so, unless he surprises me and they surprise me and they've decided to carve me something out. I'm the, other than their daughter that they have together, I'm the only one that like would be potentially able to take and get anything. But I'm willing to bet that their daughter is going to get everything. So
Yeah. Well, I only asked because if you are the only surviving heir of someone who passes away and they did not take significant legal steps to prevent their estate from going into probate,
yeah,
then you will get nothing.
Yeah.
So my mother thankfully did all of that. So when she passed, everything legally automatically transferred to me.
well, you had a good relationship with your mom, who seemed like a generally a decent person. So that's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Fairly good relationship.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Look, if it's making y'all feel too uncomfortable, then I'll get off of it. I'm just, figured out. I'm not trying to be parasocial about it. I'm trying to just
Streamer man is real.
Streamer man goes through
outside your
stuff
door
too.
right now. He's coming for
Streamer
you.
man experiences things, and streamer man sometimes they're very inconvenient to streaming times. And I figured, why not just incorporate the two? I'm not giving away anything that I feel like is making me vulnerable or anything like that. So anytime I have a chance to try to relate to people that everybody has their own things to go through, then I try to do that. Yeah. So I mean, I've made peace with it. I made peace while he and I weren't talking for over a year, that like he might die and I never speak to him again, and that's something I have to accept. So it didn't happen, but I did write a pretty angry song about him. That is about him being a MAGA idiot. So, not like recently, but this is like last year. Anyways, so today, I figure we're gonna talk about. I think Morgan's gonna be showing up at some point. But we're gonna talk about Daredevil: Born Again, season 2, episode 4.
4,
right?
Yeah,
4.
4.
How many episodes are there? 8.
I think there's 8.
Okay. And then also the trailer for Punisher: One Last Frank came out. And so I figured we ought to do it's been a while since we've on, it's an very occasional series that we've done here called Let's Be Frank. And we talk about Frank. So yeah, Punisher: One Last Frank trailer looks pretty good. I honestly trust Bernthal implicitly at this point. Just he seems to be the ideal shepherd for the character. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, question before we proceed. Are we going to do when Morgan arrives? Are we going to do like we did last time and make chat invisible to us? Or are we going to interact with chat the whole night?
I mean, I'm not going to respond to it as often as I have been so far. But now that we're moving on, but it's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to keep an eye on it and just let me know if there's anything that we feel is.
I'm only asking because chat should know what to expect. I don't
Sure,
want them to feel like we're.
If you want to keep an eye on it and just let them chat if they want to, and then if you see something that's worth, like, hey, let's jump on that and talk about it or answer it, go for it. I'll hide it for myself so I don't get distracted.
Okay.
I love you, chat, but you were very distracting because I love you too much in a very parasocial way.
You're all so sexy. Can't keep his eyes off of you.
Okay, so I don't think I like these squares. I think I like it better with the rectangle. Unrepentant China Boo. Okay.
Oh, wait. Big Fieldy is asking if anyone else's audio is cutting out. It's not cutting out for me, and I hope it's not cutting out for Dane.
I'm good. I'm straight. We're good. I got a new guitar.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it's a cheapo guitar, but like, so when I was first learning guitar, when I was like 15, the cheapo guitars, the budget guitars were not good at all. They were bad. Now there's this whole tier of like budget guitars that you can get that are like pretty badass and like, yeah, well reviewed. People have been playing guitar for 50 years or like, I can't believe how good this sounds and stuff like that. So yeah, I got one of those. It's a knockoff Gibson Les Paul, which is just the guitar in my opinion. Tool uses them. Lots of people use them. They've been around a long time.
So I just moved the mic a little bit closer to myself. Am I louder now?
Yeah, you sound fine. That's why I was just talking about whatever because I was trying to get the audio.
Reggie was saying I could be louder. Maybe it was just because I wasn't speaking very loudly.
Yeah,
But
that's one of your old ways, speaking softly and carrying a big stick.
yes, we speak softly to the young ones. We do not wish to fight.
Like ASMR.
No, this would be ASMR. What I just did there was like a creepy old man. I don't know. Whatever.
All right, so Punisher, one last prank. What did you think of the trailer?
Oh, the Punisher trailer?
Yeah.
I was a little confused. I think that was the intent, right? But it was cool. It was very, very cool.
Yeah, what was up? Like, there was this whole surreal element to some of it, right? Where,
very dreamlike quality to it.
So he seems to be kind of seeing. I'm assuming that's somebody that was in his one of his either his Army Marine unit or whatever, or maybe his whatever, something like that, right? Somebody that knew him intimately in his younger years and is dead now, I'm guessing.
It looked like he's being haunted by the memories, perhaps the ghosts of his old unit.
But it was just one guy, I thought.
Well, one guy was speaking, but I'm pretty sure they showed more than one. Maybe they showed the same guy multiple times from different angles. But I got the impression that it was multiple people.
Well, then there was
could be wrong.
Then there was the dang the fire situation, which was interesting and cool, and that's the kind of thing that I don't quite understand what's happening there, but the way that he responds to it is he just says, fuck it, I'm gonna charge like a bull through the door. And that's the kind of thing that makes me think that this is going to be what you want from a Punisher thing, which is just violence, but done in a smart way, and the sets sets will be done in an exciting way and unique and stuff like that. So that's what I'm guessing.
The fire thing confused me too, because he just stood there and watched it.
Yeah, his legs were really catching on fire.
Bro, move, bro.
Yeah, you gotta get out of it. And he eventually did, but he's Frank. He's kind of messed up, in case you haven't heard.
That's why I think most of the footage we saw is either from dreams or I don't know. It's not stuff that's really happening to him.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not really reacting to it.
Well, so I think some of it is, so like the whole, I don't know if you've noticed the chaos in the city going on when he's out in the street. I think that is just a direct consequence of whatever happens at the end of this season of Daredevil, I guess.
Yeah, could be.
I'm not sure if it takes place after the Spider-Man or after Daredevil.
It's coming out between, right?
Okay. I'm not sure. I don't know the dates off the top of my head.
I'm not sure either, but I thought that the progression was Daredevil, followed by Punisher, followed by Spider-Man. We can check that real quick. We have the internet at our disposal. Let's see. Spider-Man release date.
Spider-Man is July 24th. Punisher is May 12th.
Right.
Okay. So it's next in this series of street level shenanigans.
Right. Which doesn't necessarily mean that it happens before Spider-Man or even after Daredevil, but that's a logical thing to do. It's the most likely.
I think it's been confirmed that it is picking up on threads of what happens in this season. So it definitely takes place after Daredevil, and I'm assuming before Spider-Man, unless it does a Black Widow movie situation.
Yeah. I think it's safe to assume it's after Daredevil and before Spider-Man, for sure.
Yeah. So it got me thinking though, and I hope Morgan shows up soon. I don't know how long she's going to be, but maybe we'll wait on that conversation.
I'm just happy to see Disney actually treating the character correctly.
Well, this is the thing that I said in my Punisher videos fucking 5 years, Jesus Christ, 6 years ago now, that they have to do this to even begin to claw back the branding. You know, this character has been stolen from them. You know, the characters, in particular, the iconography, but like, you know, the far right just straight up said, this is ours now. And
Yeah.
And cops and military and all that shit. And it's not good. And so I laid out the case a couple times back then that like they have to start being aggressive with, first of all, they need to sue any, you know, they can't do that though. There's so many fucking, it's the difficult thing about the symbol, the skull, is it's just a skull. You know, and it doesn't take much to alter it from whatever Marvel is using as their official logo so that it's not that anymore. You know, Marvel can't be like, nobody can use a skull logo. That's not something they can do. So, you know, you look online and you see all kinds of merchandise that's not official, and it's got cop shit, propaganda crap, and all, you know, Trump crap. There's like a bunch of Trump ones. It's crazy.
I would just say to all the cops in the world who have stolen this skull, the Totenkopf is right there waiting for you.
Yeah.
You don't need this one.
Yep. Well, I mean, you know, and Punisher has addressed this in the comics as well. Matthew Rosenberg's Punisher series in like 2019 explicitly addressed this, where he came across some cops that had a sticker on their Punisher sticker on their fucking bumper or whatever, and he peels it off and rips it up right in front of them. And he's like, you know, you guys want a role model? Captain America's over there. Go talk to him. He's like, you don't do what I do. You shouldn't be doing what I do. Nobody does what I do.
Yeah.
You know, but there's so what I'm saying is that they're doing now. It seems like what the only real thing that makes sense is aggressively make your claim with this character, and this, you know, this is what he's about. And Bernthal seems to be, you know, like he's a writer, and if you remember, he didn't want to do Daredevil Born Again at first, because the idea that they pitched to him at first was not, and he hasn't been specific about it as far as I can see, but like I think that it was more like taking him in a aggressive, you know, kind of direction where he's like, oh, he's just back to killing mercilessly again or whatever. And Bernthal is too wise and too fucking responsible for that, I think. And so he, like, if he's going to be doing Punisher stuff, he's going to A, be a co-writer, and B, it's going to be something that's a specific circumstance that makes, you know, so for instance, Daredevil Born Again season 1, he's actually dealing with these fucking cops that are, you know, using his shit. And and I assume that there's going to be a similar kind of like, and I guess the one last kill thing is the impetus for this one, where it's like, oh, this just one last time, then I'm done or whatever. I don't know, but
and the cops in Daredevil are still wearing his skull.
Yeah. Really stupid move, if you ask me. I mean,
well, perhaps this show will deal with the consequences of that after whatever happens at the end of Daredevil blows everything up.
I mean, look, Bullseye seems to be handling that problem just like throughout the season. I'm like, yes, got one, got two, got three. Man, that actor is really, I knew he was good before, but he's really just like, he's killing it. No pun intended. Wilson Bethel, I think his name is.
Oh, I don't know his name. I should know his name, but I don't.
It seems like they might be setting him up for a comic book type of level of Bullseye thing in the MCU. And there's all kinds of stuff pointing to them maybe doing another, if not Thunderbolts, with actual villains or whatever, that like a Dark Avengers type thing. And if that's the case, then that's definitely where he's headed. It seems like they've got plans for him. Because, yeah, so in the comics, whenever Norman Osborn became the leader of the director of Hammer, and S.H.I.E.L.D. was defunct, he became the leader of Hammer, and he created his own Avengers team that, like, it was Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, or Ms. Marvel, rather, and all the, you know, characters you recognize and stuff, except it wasn't really them. So, like, Wolverine was Wolverine's son in the Wolverine costume, but nobody knew that publicly. Spider-Man was just Venom, but nobody knew that. And then Hawkeye was Bullseye in Hawkeye's costume. And that was made for some fun stuff. So I'd like to see something along those lines with him. Would be pretty fun.
I think that they probably have no plans for him outside of the TV series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you've heard something I haven't, or seen some rumor reporting that I haven't.
Your guess is just as valid, probably more so than mine, because maybe I'm just wishful, hoping, making an educated wish.
Yeah. I mean, if they take any character out of the TV show and put him in a movie, it's going to be the Punisher. Oh, wait, they did that already. It's going to be Daredevil. I think we'll see Daredevil on the big screen before we see Bullseye.
Yeah, I laid out my theory on that last time, I think, where it's like they have nothing but proof that it's going to be a big seller, a big moment, however long he's in. I think he's in Spider-Man. That's all. I think he's in it.
Me too.
Let's see. So, what do we got here?
Well, if we want to defer the Daredevil conversation until Morgan shows up, there's other spicy things to talk about.
Sure. Give me a second. I actually have something related to Bernthal now that it dawned on me that I have this that we could check out. I think it might be pretty good for you. And you want to talk about your new channel a bit while I look for this video?
Sure. Yeah. I hope. Let's see if I can change my icon here. So those of you who are new to the stream or whatever, who may not be aware, I started a side channel. My main channel, Bob of the Old Ways. I'm still going to do content there, but I'm kind of spinning my wheels about what to do with it. And in the meantime, I started a fan channel, a side channel called Armchair Black Belt, which is dedicated mostly to Hong Kong action movies from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, which is considered kind of the golden age of that media. And I just dropped a new video this week, which is a look at the film Fist of Legend, starring Jet Li, which was a remake of Fist of Fury. But it's a very different movie than Fist of Fury. It's the same basic story. And I tie it loosely to Pete Hegseth and his hogwash about the warrior ethos. So the question in the video is, what does the movie Fist of Legend teach us about the concept of the warrior ethos versus militarism, which is kind of a theme in that movie? That there's a difference between being a warrior and being a soldier and / a conqueror.
Word. Here we go.
So I encourage everyone to go check it out and subscribe to the channel.
Do it.
Out masculinity a lot. That comes up a lot. Does not come up on this podcast for reasons that still escape me. No, but seriously, John, like you talk about it, and I think you have you have a great it's a great vantage point you have, because you can talk about it from this place of having experienced, or having experience with toxic masculinity, or people thinking that about you because of, whatever difficulties you've had in the past, or the fighting or whatever. They can just think like, oh, this is the point of view this guy's going to be coming at me from. And then for you to talk about how that can be a toxic formula and is not the answer, gives you an authority in that. I think that other people, it gives you a power to talk about that subject that maybe other people don't have.
Look, I don't know if I have any power in it, and I don't honestly with the sort of terms that people throw out there. I don't know. I'm no authority on that. I know that I'm a father, and I'm a father of 2 boys, and I know the kind of men that I want them to grow up to be, and the kind of young men I want them to be, and I know the kind of models of masculinity that I want them to see. And I think sometimes I've talked about this before. And I think sometimes it gets confusing, and I think that I don't know that I've ever been. I do believe in discipline. I'm somebody. My kids, they practice martial arts. They know, they know how to handle themselves in the woods. I really think it's enormously important, not for them, but also just as equally important for my daughter to be able to defend themselves and to be able to handle themselves and to these things are these sort of cornerstones of, I think, classic masculinity are super, super important, but equally important is being kind, is being empathetic, is to stand up for somebody who has less rights than you, somebody who's being picked on, somebody who's being put into the corner, somebody who's just sad. Getting in touch with a side of them that's softer, having the courage to do that. I had a guy on my show that I've just learned so much from, a dear friend of mine named Kevin Vance, who's a Navy SEAL and a firefighter, and just one of the just this wonderful human being. And he talks about the code of the samurai and how they knew how to fight and they knew how to use swords and they were warriors, but they also had to get in touch with their quote unquote feminine side and their ability to do calligraphy and to dance and to cook and to garden, and that these things are all equally important and to be well-rounded. But again, when it's confused with being hardened or being picking on somebody or again saying it's my way or the highway, to me that reeks of such fear and such insecurity.
Yep.
And it's a classic rule in the boxing gym. I've said it before. When you come into Steve Petromali's gym, you're gonna see.
Oh, I'm coming in.
I know you are,
and I'm coming in hard.
I know, man. Well, look, my point is that in any boxing gym in this country, you can see it. The guy who's the loudest, the guy with the brightest color clothes, the guy who's kind of, dancing around.
That's me. That's all three.
Well, look, I think that will change because I think that is almost always the guy you don't need to worry about. But it is the guy who smiles at you and shakes your hand and nods and says, "Hey, man, you want to move a little bit?" Like, you got to deal with this guy.
I'm coming in wearing bright sham.
And then Conan O'Brien does some self-deprecation to decrease tension.
Yeah, I've seen this clip before, and as someone who has also practiced martial arts for many years and boxing and things, I would say what John Bernthal just said comports with my experience as well, being in those spaces. Yeah. The calmest. If you walk into like a dojo or an MMA training center or boxing gym for the first time, you're brand new there. The nicest guy you meet is the deadliest motherfucker in the whole building.
Yeah. And
they're generally people at that level of discipline and skill are extremely calm and soothing and very nice people. Generally, there are some exceptions, but
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's especially like when you get to more rural areas, I'm sure there's some entire dojos or whatever that are just like, literally real life, Cobra Kais or whatever the fuck, where they're like, they got some toxic shit going on because it's, starts at the top and rots down. But in general, that's been my experience from what people I've known, stuff like that. And I agree with what he said about, discipline and being able to defend yourself. And like I can totally handle myself in nature. I don't like it. But like I grew up playing outside in the fucking middle of nowhere in Louisiana and shit. So yeah, that kind of stuff resonates with me, and I definitely am trying to find ways right now, like with my son who's about to turn 11. I'm trying to find ways to engage him with more, I guess you might say, traditionally masculine activities. Not that he's not into that, but like he's really video game focused. So and I'm trying to do it in ways like while I'm deprogramming, still probably the rest of my life going to be deprogramming shit that isn't good for me from the way I was raised and stuff, and then trying not to fucking depart that onto him. So it's tightrope. But
I want to add to what Bernthal said, because I agree with everything he said about the whole masculine and all that stuff too. But training in martial arts with people who are very good at it, particularly if you're doing grappling things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or traditional wrestling, will teach you, if you're paying attention and open-minded, as a man, it will teach you so much about consent and boundaries and how to read your partner's body non-verbally. And not many men I've met made that connection for a long time, right? But I was already thinking about these issues when I got into training these things, because I was already a male feminist, and and I still had a lot to learn. But I have found that relating the question of, whenever this subject comes up, the question of consent and boundaries and stuff like that when it comes to dating and sex, relating that, or being able to relate that to a physical activity they do with other men where they already understand this concept, helps them and helped me realize it's just sexism that was getting me mad about certain things.
And for somebody like you, I'm sure that was just like the door opened and you instantly understood all that. And I think that the problem would be with some men, I believe, and young boys and whatnot, the way they see women entirely is not conducive to even having that realization. You know what I mean? Like, you see women as people. Every time I glean a little bit of insight on how some men see women and shit, I'm just like fucking astonished. Just like they're a piece of property. Literally, I mean, it's a trope. It's trope, but yeah, like there's literally it's an ownership thing and like an entitlement thing for some people. And like consent, you would have to see them as somebody who has their own agency in order to give a shit about their consent in the first place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're trained to see women that way.
Sure.
You know,
I mean,
but
yes,
but by culture,
too, I also didn't. I've had. I mean, I'm not saying I've always been perfect with women, but there's been many times whenever a woman or a girl, when I was in school and stuff, whatever, told me that like I don't act like other guys, and they would tell me some of the stuff that they experienced. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like it just. So I don't know. I've always kind of not jived with that. I think it's the autism, honestly.
Maybe. But I lost my train of thought. But
yeah, sorry, I'm kind of distracted, so I'm just kind of rambling.
Men are, and women too, are trained to see women this way by society. You know, we live in a society, right?
We do.
And it would be very surprising to me if there's any cisgendered man, or any person really, but particularly a cisgendered man walking around who is not carrying around some unexamined and unconscious deep sexism. That's just a baseline in our society. And you have to learn that you didn't do anything wrong. You were just taught this. You've never known any better. But once you become aware that it's a problem, it is your responsibility to address it, and that requires discipline, like John Bernthal was talking about. And I really like how he said in this clip that he also teaches his daughters the same things he teaches his sons, because these things are gendered by culture, but they are not gendered by nature.
I think a lot of people are obviously there's a lot of people that have come around to this, and then there's just this very well-funded, cynical, internet-based, billionaire-backed, libertarian, fucking motivated effort to stop that from happening, stop that from spreading any more than it already has. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an uphill battle. We do live in a patriarchy, and it's gotten more patriarchal in the last few years, not less.
It's weird. The system has become it's become more overtly, aggressively patriarchal, and then the people, by and large, are becoming less that. It's weird. The system reaction is the thing that I think a lot of people are kind of snapping to these days and realizing, wait, this system is really, like, I'm seeing the system as it acts right now, and that's kind of new for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. The feminist writer Naomi Wolf, before she went crazy, wrote great book called The Beauty Myth. And now that I'm thinking of it, I may be mixing her up with another book I read at the same time. But one of these two books had a great quote, which says that the more freedom women get, the more men love football. And it's talking about the correlation, the backlash effect, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I am confusing Naomi Wolf with Susan Faludi. She wrote a book called Backlash, which was a big journalistic expose thing. But the idea was, and this applies to race and queer rights and other things like that. But every time there's an advance in society of the rights of a disenfranchised population, there's always a backlash effect where certain segments of the population become more reactionary.
Yeah.
And it seems to escalate every time. And we're living through a backlash right now. It's just the way the system works.
So I have a couple of more clips here that I just realized, like looking through my videos that I have downloaded, that a couple of these are pretty good stems from the conversation we're already having. So there's this one following up on Bernthal. This is just a really funny one.
Caused headlines for your aggressively anti-napping stance.
I don't take naps. I just don't have time for naps, man. Fuck, that's for the fucking birds, man. I just ain't doing that shit.
I am really sorry about that. And honestly, that got away from me. I got nothing against you if you napped.
I don't trust people to take naps. Grown ass man. No, you did.
I just don't really do that, and I don't really have time for it. And I feel like you probably. I'm sorry. I feel like you probably do have something better to do than that, but I'm sorry, and I don't hold it against you.
So there's that. Look, he's canceled now. He's aggressively anti-nap. And then there's this, some Steve Hofstetter. I remember seeing this clip, and I was like, that's really good point.
Changed the most during the height of the Me Too movement? A lot of men did. And that movement worked. And here's how I know that movement worked. You ever hear one of those dummies complaining about it? One of those guys is like, it's like we can't say anything anymore. I'm like, yeah. He gets it. Oh, he doesn't like it, and he definitely doesn't understand it, but he learned to shut the fuck up. Progress. I saw something similar happen. I was living in New York City at the time that they banned cigarette smoking indoors. They were the first major metro to do that. And a lot of people were upset. They would be outside, like, it's like we can't smoke anywhere anymore. And I was like, yeah. He gets it. Also, you can still smoke outside. That is almost everywhere. The reason that New York City banned cigarette smoking indoors and a lot of other areas followed suit is because it's not just a health issue, it's a consent issue. If you smoke inside, you are forcing someone near you to smoke against their will. You don't have their consent, so you have to go outside. My point is, if you want to come inside, you need consent. Yeah.
Based.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Supergirl, in which case you have to shut the fuck up, apparently.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously. Yeah. You're not allowed to say anything, apparently.
Yeah.
No.
You can't say something that would lure every reactionary slug in the fandom space to do the exact thing that you're complaining about in that quote. That would just be too that's like Lady Moriarty shit right there. That's 5D chess.
When I'm not paying attention to it, like actively paying attention to the Chud stuff, like I was for the longest time. So like now it's like I'll see a video by Eric DeBunks, or I'll see whatever here and there, and I'm like, oh, what are they saying now about this, huh? And then it's like it actually gives me a different perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not thinking about it as closely anymore, so I can think about it more bird's eye view. And I'm like, wow, man, they really do just have these tactics. And I know everybody sees this by now, but like, they start prepping for a movie that's coming out by saying, like for instance, they know how to set the narrative before the thing even happens that they know is going to happen, such as her saying something about And you know, now never mind the fact that that was from, I think it was a Variety article, maybe that Millie Alcock said that.
And the question was about Game of Thrones.
Yep. And but the thing is that they act like she's out here just saying that shit, and that's the thing she's saying. And it's like, that was an interview with a bunch of other things talked about, and the outlet is always the one that chooses to put that kind of thing front and center, right? They don't ever go after the outlet for doing that, or maybe sometimes they do, but like generally they're like, you'd think that if they were actually pissed off about it, which they're really not, they would be like, why do these outlets constantly highlight these one single statements from a big interview as if that's the most important thing? Well, it's because they do it because those guys fucking react to it, because they play into the algorithm with it, right? Like, they are part of the machine that they claim to fucking be fighting against. That's, you know, what I wish I could fucking shake a lot of these chuds and be like, look, don't you see it? They're part of it. You know, when Marvel puts something, when He-Man trailer puts the, you know, pronouns in the fucking trailer, they know that these chuds are going to have something to say about it, and that's going to benefit the movie, you know?
Well, so yeah, it also shows that these guys, see, I don't agree that they're not genuinely angry. I think
you know what, you're right. Depending on who it is, I think some of them are a little bit more performatively and cynical than others, but I think generally, yeah, of course, they at some level they don't like it. But
well, given how that space is contracting financially speaking, the ones who are still doing this are either desperate or committed. They genuinely hate this stuff. They wouldn't be sticking with the game. They're doing it for the love of the game.
Well, I think like with Nerdrotic, it's all he has. When you think about, this is a man who he had a comic book shop and it failed. He went to prison for fucking selling drugs. He got out and he got really fucking fortunate with this. You know, he decided to fucking fuck over his YouTube channel partner or whatever and go with this grifty shit. And now it's on the downslide. He can see the fucking, you know, he's feeling it. You know, like he's seeing the end of it. And he's probably fucking kind of petrified.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? I'm 50, almost 60 years old. I don't have any skills except for lying to fucking idiots on the internet. You know.
Yeah. But that's a tangent from what I was originally going to say, which is that it also demonstrates that they have a dialogue tree in their head that they're waiting to fill in the blank for. It's like a Mad Libs dialogue tree.
That's what I was trying to convey. You said it perfectly. Yes, thank you.
But the quote they jumped on isn't even the one from Millie Alcock that they jumped on isn't even as egregious as anything Brie Larson ever said. And nothing Brie Larson ever said was actually egregious. But what Millie Alcock said wasn't even really a statement of feminism.
I can understand why they would get a little irritated by some of the stuff Brie Larson said. I don't agree with it. I don't think they definitely should have made all the content but I get from a Chud perspective why they got riled up at Brie Larson. This is a nothing statement. You're right.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, this was a nothing statement, and
they're comparing her to what's her name, Snow White, when it's like, dude, that she literally, I understand that one too. Once again, I don't agree with it, but like, she literally was shitting on the original source material. Now I agree with her and her criticism of it, because it is a fucking weird, fucked up thing to have the story be about the prince and then he's also kissing her while she's asleep, and you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that what's her name, Zegler said that they were mad about, but it's like, I can at least see that she was criticizing the things she was now adapting, whereas that's not anything like what Millie Alcock has said. She loves Supergirl and she loves comics and stuff like that. She's, you know.
Yeah, the essence of what she said was, you know, I know people are going to complain about me, but I can't do anything about it. So I'm not going to be a victim, and I'm just going to do my job and be myself.
And so then they do that, except what they say is that they basically frame it as if they would not have said anything had she not said that. That's their fucking position, right? Like, we would have just left, we wouldn't have said anything, but then she had to say that we were going to say something, so now we got to say something.
Right.
And it's like,
so they're all doing the public ownership of women's bodies. They're all doing the thing that she called out in that comment.
And they act like they don't understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Like, they understand. The same way that, you know, for instance, Gary is owned by whatever, you know, billionaires fund his shit. I don't know. The same way that
maybe the Russian money dried up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't looked at Tim Pool's shit lately. I think he's maybe not doing so well either.
Yeah, he's not. And Critical Drinker is doing fucking travel log content on his channel.
Critical Drinker is on one day literally going to see a premiere in place of the writer of the thing, and then the next day being like, oh, the Access Media. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me, you fucking loser?
Yeah. But what I mean is he's literally going to tourist attractions sites in Scotland and making videos on his channel where he just like goes around and talks about how cool this spot is.
Is it like spots where movies were filmed or something?
Some of them, yeah.
Has he gone to this? There's a spot where I forget what it's called, but it's like it's where he beat up a little kid. Has he gone there?
He's probably passed through there. He lives there. But I mean that's how he's still the biggest channel in this whole space. And financially he must still be doing well, but even he can see what's happening and is trying to create an exit strategy right now. That's what all this is about. They're going to the premiere and doing backup content where he's doing little vignettes about these cool places in Scotland. He's setting up a backup plan for content creation because he suspects that this grift is almost over.
Yeah. You know, and then, you know what? We haven't talked about, we could do this while we're waiting on Morgan. I'm assuming Morgan is still going to show up. Morgan, if you're hearing this and you're not going to be on, then we'll let us know. But while I'm looking for the thing I'm going to look for, I've got this clip. So you know who Clavicular is, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
So did you see any of his interview with Channel 5?
No.
Callahan? So it was about an hour, but it would have gone longer, I assume. But he got really upset, seemingly over nothing. But like I got the clip of where he decided to end it. Basically, Callahan was asking him a lot of stuff about, you know, trying to clear. He was, you know, he's being very fair. That's the thing. Is like there's, you know, that Shirley kid. Whenever he interviewed him as well, he was very fair with him. He was, you know, pushing back and stuff, but he was, you know, wasn't really pushing back as far as he should have with the misinformation. But like then the dude after the interview decided to get upset because he realized that he didn't look good in the interview, and so he started fucking, you know, and so similar thing happens here where I think that Clavicular, the reason this relates to what we're talking about, masculinity and stuff, is that he doesn't know what to do with you if you aren't lacking in self-esteem and looking for a solution. Right? So like that's his grift. Is if you actually are just cool with yourself and you're not looking to fucking like I need your wisdom, sir. Please pass, you know, hand down your wisdom for how to looks max or whatever, then he's just like doesn't want to deal with it, doesn't want to talk to you. And it's just such a fucking transparent, to me anyway, craven grift this motherfucker's doing. But
people probably want to learn about you, and that was what I was trying to give you the opportunity to do.
Well, no, I know. I think that's totally fair, and that's I applaud you for that. But not one, you know, question about looks maxing.
There's been so many questions about looks maxing. I probably asked you about looks maxing like 40 times. I just don't know the specific science. I'm not in the community.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, if you were to ask about like something in regards to hair loss, like, there's really nothing.
Yeah, sure, hair loss.
You see what I mean?
You're telling me what you're trying to get me to.
What to ask. So when you wake up every single morning and you take a look in the mirror, you're 100% satisfied with every single thing. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, dude. All right. Well, I guess that's just, if you want to be completely disingenuous, that's fine with me. I guess there's.
He can't comprehend that somebody, you know, because he's looking at him and he's like, oh, this guy's, you know, he's not a perfect 10, whatever. So how can he possibly be comfortable with himself and satisfied with himself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has no fucking understanding of it. And yeah, like I hate to think how much this going so hard into looks maxing and the chemicals he's put into himself and shit at such a young age, how it's going to fuck him up for the rest of his life is it's crazy. But yeah, and I feel for any fucking young man, young boy or girl, even whatever that has fallen into this shit. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
tragic, really, that this is where we're at, where the system has broken down so much that you've now got people that are like, well, the only thing that objectively matters is my physical appearance and attractiveness level. And
it's not just that. You can tell that this is the sign of somebody who's been trapped in a bubble of content and association. He thinks, up until this moment, he thought that every male on the planet thinks the way he does.
Yeah.
He thinks he's tapped into metaphysical masculinity and has unlocked some kind of secret, and he cannot fathom that other people genuinely think he's full of shit. He thinks they're all lying. He genuinely believes that.
Right. And I mean, I honestly, like, I've never been that bad off at all, but like, I understand to a degree, you know, like when I was younger and I was trying to fit in and trying to do what I thought society expected of me and perform, you know, all the things, the masculinity and all these things that like, this is what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to be and all that. There was a period I went through that, and I thought that there was some objective way that people see things and ways, you know, because I was naive and young and stupid. And when I, like, honestly, till I broke out of that frame of mind, I don't know, I was suffering, you know. And so until you break out of that shit, you're gonna be suffering. And so I mean, I kind of like have a little bit of sympathy for younger people that are still stuck in that. And it's like thinking that, you know, that movies are objective or that looks and stuff like that. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, it's so freeing whenever you get past that, and you just like, it's like you're literally, not literally, metaphorically busting out of a cage. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
And it's a sad. I'm both heartbroken and enraged by the manosphere, because it funnels young, insecure men who just want to get laid. That's all they want. They want to get laid and have a girlfriend, and it funnels them into behaviors that guarantee that will not happen, and tells them that the women are the problem, and then it creates a multi-level marketing scheme out of it. So they're all being ripped off and taught to hate women, and, you know, treat sex like it's a commodity, and getting it is like a vending machine. Insert X number of kindness coins, and the woman is supposed to give you one sex, right? And it's just so maddening. And I don't know what the solution to it is, because I mean, the solution to their problem, to what's actually ailing them, in my opinion, is solidarity and human unity across, regardless of gender, right? The things that men need, generally speaking, are the things that women need and people of other genders need. And if we all work together to meet those needs and help one another, then we won't be lonely, unless we have like a significant mental illness or something, right? Most of us will be happy if we do that. If we were, even if you have a mental health issue going on. So, for instance, like when I was at, you know, my life was at its worst and most just, you know, a lot of suffering going on. I'll say that. My panic attacks were like multiple daily. I was trembling with anxiety constantly. You know, cycling through different medications, trying to find one. And I was so fixated, like how you were just saying about like you become so fixated on the thing, but it actually becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy or whatever. You screw yourself by fixating in the wrong way on the thing you're trying to do or achieve. And I was like, I have to stop being anxious. I can't let anybody see me being anxious. My anxiety is so bad. I can't, you know, I don't know. I got to hide it. I got to be better than that. And all of the wrong ways of looking at that shit, and not at just doing the, you know, the hard work that needed to be done to kind of get at the core of it, at the root of it, which I eventually did. But like the more I fixated on wanting to not be this way, the more I was that way, you know. And the same was like the more you fixate on wanting to, you know, like be a alpha Chad or whatever the fuck, and and it's like
I'm with you, man. I have a lot of sympathy, but also a lot of anger at the fucking opportunists. And that's where we're at, is like, in every context, because of the internet, because of the death of capitalism, there's somebody that's willing to be, at least one person willing to be a predator in that context, and to lie, to deceive, and to exploit somebody being ignorant or at a vulnerability or whatever, whether it's somebody that wants to be a fan of movies, or somebody that wants to be a fan of comics, or somebody that wants to, get laid, or whatever it is. And I don't know, I agree, the solution is solidarity. We have to have, people need to fucking come to the realization that the things that you are focusing on are valid to a degree. The way you're focusing on them are generally not. That the feelings come from some place that is probably valid. The feeling of alienation that chuds have about fandom and stuff, that's valid. But you're kind of being directed. They're being directed at something that is not the real issue. It's another, if it's even a real thing at all, it's just another symptom of the same root cause, right? Anyway,
yeah, your alienation is a symptom of oppression. And what the manosphere does is it takes the language of oppression and liberation and turns it on its head. The men that the manosphere appeals to are oppressed, but they're not oppressed because of their gender.
Right.
They're oppressed because of their class, or their race, or their sexual orientation, or their romantic orientation, or some other factor that has deprived them of opportunities that they could have earned if we lived in a fair society.
Well, and most of them, if most of them were honest and they really asked themselves, have I been actually wronged or thrown out or whatever directly because of a woman taking my position or whatever the fuck, like they would say no. What happens is they see other people saying that shit on the internet and they think that's reality. It's and that's a whole other thing. It's like the
manosphere teaches them to focus on their own sense of shame and guilt. Yep. It's that there's a Margaret Atwood saying that men are afraid women will laugh at them, and women are afraid men will kill them. And
a manosphere chud would fucking scoff at that statement.
Right. Yeah. The manosphere hides the second half of that from its audience. Like they'll look at the things that women do that are measures of self-defense, like testing a man's behavior on the second date or whatever, or wanting to go Dutch on the first date, or what, like putting up barriers to instant access to sex, right? And women do that because they are trying to protect themselves, because they are afraid that the man might kill them. And the manosphere tells young men that women have all the power, that we live in a matriarchy, and that they are being oppressed by women who are denying them sex because they're evil, vindictive bitches.
Yep. And it's bizarre, man. I don't understand it. I'll tell you what else I don't understand is this guy we're gonna look at here. This is a fun thing that came up over the week. Some of you guys, I'm sure, saw somebody talking about it. If you haven't, you're in for a treat here. This is the Mary Sue, which is a nerd website that generally has good, quality coverage of stuff. Whenever I see it, it's not like I go to it regularly or whatever. But with the name of the Mary Sue, you can probably get an idea if you're not familiar with what they're about. They have an article called "Failed Filmmaker Turned YouTube Grifter is Mad People Are Distancing Themselves from Him and His Grift." And look who it is here. Oh my God, there he is. And that's just fucking, what a fantastic fucking headline, Teresia Gray. The Critical Drinker is upset with Dungeon Crawler Carl's author, and that's a book series that I've seen around and I've thought about checking out because it seems fun. It's part of this kind of subgenre that I've seen popping up lately of like absurdist comedy RPG type literature.
Yeah.
So Dungeon Crawler Carl, author, because Matt Dinneman, which is his name, wants to distance himself from the streamer. A 9-month-old quote from Reddit is making the rounds after social media got a hold of it again. As Dungeon Crawler Carl gets ready to begin production, I guess it's a movie or a show coming out, folks are remembering the time that the author had some thoughts about the Critical Drinker. Dinneman was not exactly shy with his commentary. I regret that my books have any association whatsoever with him. I hope one day to have his part in book 3 removed altogether. So, what, I don't know what is going on with his connection here.
What do you mean?
Like he said that Critical Drinker is part of his book 3 for some reason. Like why? You know?
Oh, I think I haven't read the books, but I think that there's a character, or that he just is a character in the guy's 3rd book. And I think in the audiobook, he read his own part.
Oh.
I think that's what I've been told. I haven't read the books or listened to the audiobooks, but it's something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see why he, look, the thing about Critical Drinker is that if you don't do the research, and I'm not even saying you can do some diligence and maybe still not even recognize, if you don't have the proper cultural context, subcultural context, you might not recognize what Critical Drinker is really about if you kind of just watch a couple of videos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We made that point in me and Turf and Bob Chaos made that video together, and that was kind of one of the main points we made at the end, is like, it's not just like Gary Nerdrotic or Geeks and Gamers, where it's like you just know what this guy's about. He's much more insidious with how he hides his, power levels and shit, and the language he uses and stuff. So I don't fault the guy for not recognizing maybe that he was what he is. But I guess he's recognized it since then. So
the Critical Drinker has also gotten more and more extreme over time.
True.
Because I remember the first time I encountered him was a long time ago, probably when he was first starting out. I had a friend of mine sent me a link to one of the guy's videos just because he thought it was funny. And nothing jumped out at me about his conservative politics being smuggled in or anything like that. It was just some goofy Scottish guy pretending to be drunk and complaining about something. And so if that's your entry point and you've been listening to the guy for years, you're going to slowly get radicalized along with him.
Yeah, I think that he definitely became more radical, as well as he was also always hiding what he was really about too. I think that there was like an implicit, along with Trump being elected and stuff in particular, again, there was kind of this implicit, like for him and Gary and all these guys, like, oh, we can relax a little bit. We can let our, unbutton our shirts a little bit, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they thought they won. That's the part that is funny to me.
Right.
Despite all the horrible shit that's going on, is that all the horrible shit is happening so quickly because they thought they voted in the 1,000-year Reich, and now they're realizing they didn't. So they're trying to.
They don't even seem to have been able to pull off a full term Reich.
Yeah. So they're trying to speed run the whole thing. Yeah.
As of yesterday, we witnessed both Trump and Melania attempt to change the narrative about a thing and fail spectacularly.
That was so weird.
It really, like, I think yesterday is the day that hopefully we'll be able to look back and go, that was when the power got shut off. Like, they just, did you see Trump's fucking crash out about like all the right-wing influencers and shit?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man, that was fucking like deranged even for him. And it was like, the thing is, it's so transparently desperate and insecure. This is the thing. It's like anybody could see that, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you read the New York Times piece about how Netanyahu duped him into invading Iran, using more or less the same arguments he used to convince us to invade Iraq, and Rubio and Vance both told Trump, and several other people in the room told Trump, "Look, this is bullshit. He's bullshitting you." They Netanyahu always does this. He always oversells.
Yeah, generals said that. This is what in my experience, this is what they do. They kind of come up with a crazy pipe dream plan, and they don't think it through. And that's why I think that they must have something on him, because he went around the room. The article explains they went around the room and basically almost everybody was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And then he goes, I think we've got to do it.
Yeah.
So there's something there.
Well, what's there is he's number one, he's just stupid.
What?
But
and his brain is literally melting right now.
Even if he weren't being blackmailed, which I'm not sure he is being blackmailed, but we can assume that he is. He's behaving like somebody who is. But even if he wasn't, he's still dumb enough to fall for it because he's never been told. He's probably been told no, but it's never like had consequences for him. And he thought this was going to be a walk in the park. And now he's in a situation where he can't get out of it. No matter what he does, he's fucked. Right?
Because he's an inherently insecure man who he sees Netanyahu. He saw Netanyahu as somebody who knows better than him, even though he would never admit it. He's like, oh, if this guy's cool doing this, it must be okay. You know what I mean? This is the Israel guy. And he didn't realize that Netanyahu's a fucking psychopath who's only also gotten crazier as time has gone on. Yeah. And saw Trump as the perfect mark. Trump's used to seeing others as the mark. He didn't realize he was the mark this time.
Yeah. And so as a result, I've been following this Iran thing really closely. It is really, I think this is a turning point in the death of the American empire.
You're saying it's a turning point in the USA?
It is like Iran, from what I can tell, and I'm no expert, but I'm not the only one thinking this. Iran has come out of this stronger than they went into it. And the situation we're in now is that Iran stands a very good chance of getting everything it wants out of this in the end, because they cleaned our clock militarily. They essentially wiped every one of our military bases and surrounding them off the map. So the only way we can project power there is to take resources away from everything else, every other fucked up thing we're trying to do. And the 10-point plan that Trump agreed to, when a couple of days ago when they said, okay, we've got a framework for a ceasefire or something.
Yeah.
It was all just 10 demands that Iran made that he basically said, okay, we'll start there. And now they're pretending like some of them weren't what they agreed to. But those like 10 things are basically turning Iran into a regional superpower.
Yep.
And diminishing undermining the dollar as the world's reserve currency. They want to be paid in Chinese yuan. And it's really just a huge, from the perspective of someone who wants the American empire to be a thing, it is a huge clusterfuck. And there is no way for Trump to extract himself from it without destroying the American power relations with the entire world forever.
I think that you're kind of right, Fieldy. I think that's probably vaguely what the idea he has. But you got to think he's failed in every single venture he's ever undertaken because he doesn't have a fucking brain. Basically, he just has these ideas that were ingrained into him as a child, and by his father and shit. And so, he's just fucking stupid. But so he thinks that he's got the ideas that are going to make this happen. But what he's really doing is he's listening to, almost certainly, in my opinion, it seems pretty clear that he is taking advice from Putin. And Putin's telling him, if you want to, make the American empire that you're going to be the emperor of, you got to do this and this and this. And he's going, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And he's doing that shit when what Putin's actually doing is telling him how to fucking destroy this country. Like how to fucking, take it down piece by piece.
I don't think Trump wants an American empire. He doesn't think of it that way. What he wants is to be deified and for his family to be basically a hereditary monarchy. That's what he wants. And he doesn't care about the society they rule over. He doesn't care if it's an American empire or a collection of balkanized states. he doesn't give a shit about political economy at all. He just wants to be deified when he's gone and have his family rule in perpetuity.
You got to think, a guy that it has, literally raped children multiple times in his life, I'm convinced, that's somebody that only thinks about right now and how he feels right now and what he wants right now. He doesn't think about the consequences whatsoever. So yeah, he's only like, what am I going to, that's what this whole fucking war thing was. It was obvious what they were doing was, oh, we didn't solve it today. So just whatever idea they would have the next day, he would try that. So like he wakes up in the morning, you know what? I'm just going to fucking cuss them out and I'm going to call them crazy bastards and I'm going to threaten to nuke the whole fucking country. Like he does it and he doesn't think about how fucking insane that actually is and how unprecedented and how, that he is just with that tweet. He, never mind the war itself, but that tweet took us into a fucking realm that we've never been in and can't possibly predict what is going to happen.
Which one?
The tweet where he's like, end your civilization kind of thing.
Yeah.
That where it's like, okay, dude, even if I knew that I was pretty sure he wasn't going to do it, but the fact that he even threatened that is utter insanity.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it speaks to what you've said, the extinction burst thing. It seems like that's literally what's happening with him in the narcissist context. And yeah,
that's the other thing. He's a narcissist. I don't think he's been diagnosed this way, but he behaves like a narcissist. And a narcissist that extreme cannot stand the idea of the world existing without him in it. And most narcissists die, alone or whatever, because they have no power. But this guy has a lot of fucking power. And if he doesn't want the world to exist without him in it, we're kind of fucked.
Right.
I don't think the president can arbitrarily launch nuclear weapons. There's a whole process that has to be, multiple steps that have to be gone through. But he can give the order. And if everybody does their thing, we kind of just have to hope that there's one person in that chain of decisions that says, no. Because that's happened before. There's been documented cases of the equipment malfunctioning and somebody in a nuclear missile silo received the order to fire and they didn't believe it. So they checked on it and saved the world by not blindly following their orders.
So you guys got to think about this. What is the message that Iran has taken? If you think about what happened with Iraq, all right, we said that Saddam had nukes or was getting or whatever. Go in there, he didn't have shit. Okay, so not having them, you get invaded and overthrown, and then Gaddafi, he did have it, and he was willing to get rid of him. He said, okay, I'll give him up. He gave him up, and then what happened? His people shoved a bayonet up his ass and killed him.
Yeah.
Right. So from Iran's perspective, it's like the most sane thing we can do actually is to have a nuke.
Yes.
Because they will leave them. We would not be fucking with them like this if they already have it, and that's why they don't want them to. They don't want Iran to have it because then they won't be able to fucking push them around, and that's really all it's been about. Israel wants to fucking balkanize the place, and we just want to be able to, I guess, extract resources and have the biggest landmass in the Middle East, basically.
Yeah, it's what we're seeing is that we're living through a period where it's transitioning from one global, one global superpower, one global central pole of influence being the United States, to a multipolar world where, like, several other nations in the world are very, very close to being as economically powerful as we are. Iran is one of them. China is almost, they'll be there in like a year or two. India is one of them. And that's going to erode the global hegemon of the United States. So we're living through that transitional period. And it's ironically one of the things that's unleashing Israel, or that's enabling Israel to do what they're doing with their expansionist project, is that they can sense the U.S. empire is dying too. So they're trying to get theirs while they can, right? And because Israel has always, well, I don't know about always, but for many years has openly aspired to being a superpower. they want to be as big geographically as Iran is. And they want Iran to be a failed state so that they can be the only bully in the area. And our waning influence on global politics is enabling Iran to swing its dick around the way they're doing right now, and also enabling Israel to manipulate us into a war with Iran, which is something that they would never have been able to do before now. And they're lucky, they got lucky that Trump is the president right now. But I mean, Biden wasn't doing much to restrain them either. And look at how many of the Democrats in Congress are kind of not saying it out loud, but you can tell they're kind of okay with going to war with Iran too. They're on board with the project and concept, and their only objection is, well, he didn't follow the proper procedure. So something like that, and we've been surrounding Iran with military bases for decades. So
well, we got about 13 fewer now.
Yeah. So something like what is happening right now at a certain point became inevitable.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's true. But it also was like, I mean, so for anybody that's not aware, BB tried the same pitch with Obama and Biden.
Yeah.
And obviously they said no. Obama, you want to, look, Obama, he did not do some things that he should have done. He was kind of weak on some stuff for sure. He droned a lot of people. Yep. Okay. However, sometimes there's some stories that still come up and I'm like, God damn, that dude was cool. Okay. Like, so Netanyahu basically pitched the same thing to him, but he pitched to Trump, that Trump was like, yeah, let's do it. And Barack Obama said, no, we're not going to do that with you. And not only are we not going to do that, you're not going to do that.
Yep.
And they didn't.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And Reagan did the same thing. Like there's a famous story of when sometime during Reagan's presidency, I was a kid at the time, I don't remember the details, but Israel invaded Lebanon and was making all these bold claims of what they were going to do, kind of like they're doing now. And Ronald Reagan called up the prime minister of Israel and said, no, you're fucking not. And 15 minutes later, the war was over. Their attempt to invade Lebanon lasted 15 minutes. And that's what somebody needs to remind Israel who the client state is in this relationship.
Yeah.
Because we're all pretending like we can't do anything. That was the problem with Biden. Pretended like he had no leverage, right, to stop the genocide. And he did. We're the fucking United States. You call them up and say, hey, no more guns for you ever until you stop this shit. And they will fucking stop.
So apparently there's some more stuff coming out about the whole Melania thing yesterday, by the way. Something seems to maybe have something to do with that Paolo Zamboni guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who ran this modeling agency and is supposedly the guy who actually introduced or brought Melania here from Slovenia, Slovakia, where's she from? I don't remember. One of those. So like it seems like there's almost certainly something coming up that somebody's going to talk about something that it has to do with the truth about Melania coming here and getting with Trump, which I'm willing to just bet that it has to do with Epstein claimed there's a book that came out at some point a year ago or something that Epstein is quoted in it saying that he slept with Melania a year before Trump and her met.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what she was getting out, trying to get out ahead of yesterday. And it's like, oh my God, nobody told her about Streisand, I guess. Holy shit. Nobody was even thinking, well, people were thinking about it, but nobody was talking about Epstein. They successfully got people off of it by doing the Iran thing. Nobody was, and then here she comes. She's like, actually, we need to talk about Epstein again.
Yeah, there's a British author who, I wish I could remember his name, but he's a biographer of Prince Andrew. And he wrote a book a couple years ago where he had that story in it. Like, Prince Andrew. Somewhere in the book that story exists.
That's what it was.
And somewhere in that book is the story that, if you read between the lines, what it looks like is that Epstein sold Melania to Trump, literally sold her, and through the modeling agency. And that got taken out of the book after 60,000 copies of the book had been printed, because Trump sued or threatened to sue the publisher.
Oh.
But so it got taken out of the book, but the author still goes around and talks about it publicly all the time. And I just saw something on Instagram today where apparently what may have been the inciting incident here is that there's a woman who worked for Melania, or was friends with her or something, who also came out of the Epstein network, that was just arrested by ICE a little while ago, was put in detention, and the Trumps did nothing to help her. Like, this is a woman who was sitting at the table with them at the inauguration, both of the inaugurations, and ICE snatched her up for some reason and deported her and her husband to, I think, to Brazil. And she is now taking legal action, and just did an interview with the Spanish newspaper El País. And when Melania's video when the video of Melania giving that press conference was put on social media, this woman started like tweeting at her, going, "Bitch, I know all your secrets and I'm about to tell them. You don't fuck me over the way you did by letting ICE hold me in detention for 6 months and get away with it. You're done. I know everything." So that may have been, so Melania may have known that woman was about to drop the ball on them or something.
I mean, I figured it had something to do with somehow related to like Michael Wolff's thing that's been going on with him, between him and her. So
Michael Wolff is never going to follow through for us. He's never going to do it. If he hasn't done it by now, he would have done it. It's like Michael Wolff is never going, if he knows anything, he's never going to release it.
No, not until Trump is dead or something, for sure. Because he's definitely not. Yeah, he would get sued to oblivion, and he's afraid of that for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just want to point out, I know you've heard about it or you've seen the tweet, but for anybody that hasn't seen Trump's response to the criticism that he'd been getting about the Iran war, I'm talking Alex Jones had fucking disowned him essentially. Candace Owens, who else? Bunch of right-wing figures.
Megyn Kelly.
Yep, Megyn Kelly too. And the Megyn Kelly wasn't even really, she didn't disown, she just kind of was like trying to appeal to reason. Tucker Carlson didn't even go that hard. He was actually made in the vacuum, he made a very good statement about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's why I still stand by, I think he's bullseye. If we're comparing real life shit to, it's like, man, that was a great, thank you, bullseye. That was fucking perfect. But also, you're still bullseye, and I don't trust you. But like, yeah. So this is his response tweet, and being read by this forget this guy's name, but he's fucking funny, and it's just like, the crash out is beyond epic.
Is an official communication from the President of the United States. It's a long one. Let's do this. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it's wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon. Because they have one thing in common, low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it. Everyone else knows it too. Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have...
That just comes off so impotent, man. Like he's trying so desperately to create this narrative, and he just doesn't. He's never been able to create a narrative with me, but I just sense that the power isn't even there anymore. You know what I mean? With this, It's like I don't believe anybody's just like, yeah, he's right about Alex Jones, Candace Owens, and Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson. He's right. I doubt that's happening en masse.
The polling data shows otherwise.
What?
We can talk about that when this is done. Like,
have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and will say anything for some free, cheap publicity. Now they think they get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them, and their views are the opposite of MAGA, or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval rating of Trump, not hand-flailing fools like Tucker Carlson who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. Or Megyn Kelly, who was nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy.
Nobody remembers that.
Crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in an ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is far more a beautiful woman than Candace.
God.
In fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attack on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers, and they always will be. Now, fake news, CNN, the failing New York Times, and all the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA, they're losers, just trying to latch on to MAGA as president. I could get them on my side anytime I want to, but when they call, I don't return their calls because I am too busy on world and country affairs. And today, after a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Trader Brown. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing right for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength, and I'm not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again, and these people have no idea how to do that, but I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world.
There it is.
President Donald J. Trump.
Like the worst insult he can imagine for somebody is that they're not on television. That's funny.
Yeah. Grandpa, the internet exists now.
There was a poll out today showing that a majority of Republican voters, like 90% of them, still support Trump. And Trump is like 90 times, I don't know if 90 times, but he's in double digits more popular with Republicans than Tucker Carlson is.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's just got to be sunk cost fallacy at this point with a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of what is driving me batshit about the whole thing is so many of the Democratic media and the centrist media are spinning this narrative that the turn is coming. MAGA is about to break with Trump. It's going to happen any day now. And then we can scoop up all those disaffected voters. No, it's not going to happen. Stop trying, bro.
Jesus Christ.
But that's it. Trump plus 61, Tucker plus 7, right? So the good news, though, is that almost everybody else in the country hates his fucking guts. Like,
well, it's a good thing that they're not enough of those people to sway an election in a fair election.
Well,
it's them plus independence is what makes it happen.
Yeah. Well, non-voters, like just because everybody hates them doesn't mean they're motivated enough to vote in an election. But I do think if there were an election held today, if we lived in like a parliamentary system and there was an election held today that was uninterfered with, he would lose in a landslide. Yeah. But he barely won. The first, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about with a landslide. He barely won the last time, but
yeah, I mean, they started saying that the moment it happened, and it was just like, wait a second, what? You know, and the thing is that there was such this feeling on the left and center left, I guess, of like, oh no, he fucking won. That like it was hard to fight back against it for a little while, where it's just like, oh, they did win, and then you start looking at the numbers, really breaking it down, and you're like, no, they literally just gotta hand it to them. They made very targeted choices on where they were going to campaign the hardest, and maybe even cheat. We don't know. and that's what put him over. But yeah, it was not by a landslide, by a damn sight.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to conclude that Morgan is probably not showing up.
No, I got a message. Morgan is not going to be on tonight and possibly Sunday. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here because I want to check and see how Morgan's doing. Apparently she had a rough night or something. So check and see how that's going. But I got a couple of clips to check out here before.
Well, let's give our quick thoughts on Daredevil, because that's what.
Yes.
Just quick. I mean, we don't have to linger on it, but
sure.
I thought this was an awesome episode.
Yes.
And for those who spoilers, Vanessa may no longer be with us. Vanessa.
Yeah. He's going to crush some heads, dude. You know what my favorite part was, actually? I just want to say this. The whole episode
Bullseye?
is just Daredevil standing around in costume amongst a bunch of people in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I was just when has that happened before? It's just like, he's just like, I'm over here chilling against the wall while all these people are like.
Yeah. I loved the scene between him and Angela.
Yeah.
Where she's like basically going out on her first mission.
Yeah.
You know, and he's
like, are you ready?
Like,
yep.
And she says, he's like, asked her, are you ready? And she says, were you? And he just, gets all stoic and shit. I love that scene. That was a great scene. But you're right. All he did was like,
you know that he has more context than she's aware of, right? Like he knows, that where she's truly coming from. He knows what's motivating her. He knows, and he's like, if she's doing this, then she's ready. She's ready. She's ready. She's going to be. So.
Yeah, because I'm glad to see they didn't drop her plot line from the first season, like, because they included her uncle and the magic talisman and all that, and I was like wondering the first couple episodes if they were going to bring that back, and I'm glad they did. But you're right. I love how he was just basically standing around, like aura farming the whole.
He was straight up aura farming. No shit. Daredevil aura farming is great. I didn't think about that. I got a picture of him doing some aura farming here, I think. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. It's not this costume, but it is still there he is, just doing it.
Yeah. That was basically him for all of episode 4 right there. And it's awesome.
Charlie Cox is something else, man. Like I was watching the video that was looking at the different oneers from the 3 seasons previous,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've looked into any of those at all, but like the first 2 season oneers are not true oneers, though I don't discount that because it's still impressive how they stitch them together. I'm talking about the hallway fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 3rd season is a true oneer, I think. And that's fucking crazy. But like the if you watch those really closely, you can see, and especially like in the long one in the 2nd season where he's in the prison, I think it is. He's not in costume. It's pretty fucking crazy because he literally goes off the screen, out of frame for a minute, and then the next thing you know, these 2 guys are picking him up and slamming his back against the wall, and it's like you're like, that has to be a stunt double, and it almost certainly is. But it's really fucking impressive how they time that, and not to mention that whenever he is on the screen and it's just clearly Charlie Cox, he's also getting his ass kicked, for the craft, and it's like I don't think there's any superhero character or actor that fucking goes harder than he does.
Well, there's a few. I mean, Charlie Cox is to streaming shows what Keanu Reeves is to the movies. He's somebody who had no training in martial arts when he got hired to play the part, and started out learning enough to do a couple of scenes, but became obsessed with the practice. And now he's been at it for like 10 years, and it shows, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the way he moves, the fluidity with which he moves now compared to Daredevil season 1, it's night and day. Mm-hmm. Like in Daredevil season 1, you can tell when it's him and when it's the stunt double, and now you can't tell.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm like, you're right about the Keanu Reeves thing. I was just saying when it comes to specifically like superheroes, I don't think there's anybody that consistently works harder and puts themselves through the ringer more than he does. and really like clearly just loves playing the character, loves the character. You know, it's not just a job that he's doing. It's pretty great.
Yeah, him and Bernthal both are
True.
They're stewards of the character now, and they care about the character like it's a real person. So they want to give the best, like the depiction that fans will appreciate, and they pay attention to the stories that have been written about these characters. And they're not like lore fundamentalists or anything, but they've got enough of an understanding of what this character is about, and it highlights their performance, or it elevates their performance so much above what a lot of the other actors in the MCU do.
So let's think about this real quick. Charlie Cox is a British man playing an American man who is not blind, but he's playing a blind man, and he has to do that. Well, and then he also has to play kind of two different versions of that guy. Whenever he's being Matt Murdock versus Daredevil, there's subtle, obviously ways that he performs those that's different. It's just like, holy shit, how does he keep it all straight? But
his performance as a blind guy is really good.
Yeah.
Like I've known some blind people in my life, and I've seen blind people on social media, or visually impaired people. Totally blind people could not see the performance, obviously, but there's some visually impaired people I've seen in social media saying that his physical performance as a blind person, like the way he never really looks at somebody, his head will be turned toward them, but he actually doesn't see them.
He's just got respect for everybody that's at stake here, right? Like whether it's comic book fans or creators or blind people or whatever it is, he's got mad respect for everybody, and he's gonna fucking, it's just a respectful guy, giving it his all. So he's gonna be in Spider-Man for sure. Speaking of that, I got a video here to look at on the way out the door. With that in mind, subscribe to Armchair Black Belt. I was going to say karate. That's stupid. Armchair Black Belt. Subscribe to Bob of the Old Ways. Subscribe to the Modern Audience, official Modern Audience. And whatever channel you're watching on, make sure you're subbed there. Hit the like button. That helps out. And tell your friends, and be sure to come back for the next thing we do, which I'm sure we'll do Sunday to some degree, whether it's going to be what we had planned or we just me and you stream. We'll see.
Well, we weren't. I don't think we were planning on whatever. We'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah, we weren't going to stream. That's right. We're going to record, but we might stream instead. I might want to stream instead if we're not going to be recording. So, we'll see. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. Oh wow, that's crazy. So that's probably like whenever they were like, we're gonna bring you back for Daredevil. He's like, oh, thank God. I can't look at people. Yeah. All right. Wow. StreamYard has new stuff that I haven't looked at yet. I'll have to check that out later. But anyways, you guys are fantastic. You're lovely people. You turn me on. And oh no, wait, no, that's not true. Subscribe to Bob. Bye, Bob. Have a good night.
Bye.
Here's this.
one of the things that really jumps out to me about this moment in American history, and certainly about what happened last night, is the degree to which it has been shaped by ordinary Americans recognizing that they do have agency to shape their future. If you were going to advise people what they should be doing to create a more just economic system or anything that you think is important, what would you suggest that they do?
I think they've been advising us in Congress to fight harder and speak more boldly. I mean, they're the ones out marching people in the No Kings rallies. They're the ones who are coming to the town halls. They're the ones who are organizing in congressional districts. They're the ones who are speaking out on social media. You know, the part that I thought was the most discouraging of the Democratic Party was after we lost a close election. We went into this mode of defeatism and doom, where initially the idea was, well, let's just be acquiesce to the Lake and Raleigh Act and deportation without due process, and throw the trans community under the bus, and morph ourselves into a Trumpism light. But our base of citizens said, no, that's not America. We are going to march. We are going to push forward. And I think the Democratic Party has to say, we are going to get to the other side of a multiracial democracy. That the challenges we face are tough, but they're not as tough as scaling the cliffs of Normandy or being beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge or facing what my grandfather did, which was 4 years in a British prison fighting colonialism. That we have an inheritance of freedom movements, perhaps more than any generation, and that building a multiracial democracy is never going to be easy. But we're on the march, and we're going to do it, and our generation is going to do it, and we're going to do it together on our values. And it always is darkest in American history before the dawn. After Jim Crow, we had civil rights. After the Hoover collapse, we had the New Deal. After the Civil War, we had the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. I fundamentally believe after Trumpism, we're going to have a progressive era in this country.